you remember those dances, of course, right? Okay. So, yeah, and Quentin Tarantino was only familiar with the twist because he didn't grow up in the same era that I did. So I said, you know, Quentin, there are other dances in that era other than the twist. And he said, oh, really? Well, like what? I said, well, there was the swim. I said, there was the hitchhiker. There was the Batman. I said, which was really the Batman did with Catwoman. And he said, well, show me them. I did. And then he said, well, let's use all of them. I said, okay. And he decided to film it himself as opposed to a cameraman. So he'd film them and he'd call out which dance he wanted us to do. So we would, it was a teenage wedding, we'd start with a twist, and he'd say, okay, the swim. And then we'd go into the dip, he'd say, okay, the hitchhiker. Okay, now go down, dip. And anyway, it became something more than just one dance because we called them novelty dances when I was a kid. And I was probably about 7 or 8 when all those dances came to be. But anyway, sometimes you show, the old dog shows the new dog some tricks.
Well, that scene in Pulp Fiction, did your previous projects feed into that at all? In fact, that you had done Grease and Saturday Night Fever, the dance
well,
element?
Well, it fed into it specifically because talk about a fan and talk about a fanatic. Quentin was the ultimate fan of mine. He was obsessed with Grease, Saturday Night Fever, and Blowout, and Carrie, and Urban Cowboy. So when I met him, he asked if he could fulfill his fantasy by playing games of those shows, and Welcome Back, Kotter, too. So the first night I met with him, he said, would you play the Kotter game with me? And then maybe, like, kind of do Vinny, once in a while. And so I said, sure. So we would play the game, and of course it was utterly simple, that you spin the thing and, you do something, and then I would say a line, and then he said, but I don't want to make a big deal of it. You just say the line, I said, okay. Then we brought out the Saturday Night Fever game. Then we brought out the Grease game. Then we brought out, there was one other game. But anyway, the point is that he had a fantasy because he was a collector. He had all my memorabilia, he had all the games, he had the dolls, he had all of that. So it really was those films that lured him into using me in Pulp Fiction.